Welcome back to my channel. I am back with another review, so if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell so that you know every time I upload a new video. Thank you so much to everybody who has subscribed to my channel. I appreciate you all, and let's just get right into this review. So this episode picked up where the last one left off, where Natalie gathered all the baddies to the beach, and it was supposed to be for a bonfire, and Natalie gathered them all together, letting them know that she wanted them to work out whatever issues they have with each other. But we all know that when Natalie brings everybody together and says that she wants them to work out their issues, she really means that she wants them to fight. And you could already tell by the setup of the beach that there was going to be a fight that went down, because they had a bonfire lit, and then on top of that they had a bunch of tiki torches lit with fire, and they had the replacements and the girls like Callie Way and Gretchen, who nobody really likes, on one side, and then they had the originals on the other side. So you can tell that there was going to be some drama that went down, and boy was there a lot of drama, because the replacements felt like they had something to prove, so they were all ready to fight, and all of them did end up fighting because they wanted to earn a spot on the show. And look, I'm not a fan of the replacements fighting to get a spot on the show, because they already did that for the most part at the auditions, and I think it's really messy to get them to fight in order to get a spot. But that's what they ended up doing, because pretty much all the replacements ended up fighting some of the originals in order to try to make their presence known, and some of them ended up getting beat up. Like Jelly Bean got beat up by Callie Way. I'm sorry, I know that Callie ended up kicking Jelly Bean, and that's the reason why Jelly Bean fell to the floor and she was able to take over the fight. However, even if she got kicked, she still could have fought back, and it didn't really seem like she was. So she got beat up, and then Bianca ended up getting into a fight with Heaven Marina, and I honestly do feel like Bianca kind of took over that fight, in my opinion. I don't feel like Heaven won that fight. And then Meatball got into another fight with one of the other girls. Nunu ended up beating up Dia, so it was just a really hot mess. The Claremont twins were there, but they ended up leaving. They were really pissed off because they didn't want to deal with any fighting on their birthday, so they're gone. It was just a hot mess. And then Tommie ended up making a really big entrance to the beach because she showed up on a horse, and it just was crazy. And obviously, as soon as Natalie saw Tommie show up, she got really annoyed, because obviously her and Tommie have beef with each other stemming from a few seasons ago when they got into it when Tommie was on the show originally. And so Natalie was kind of off to the side with Jayla and Scotty, and Jayla ends up whispering to Natalie that she needs to whoop Tommie. And the thing about it is that Tommie and Natalie do get into a fight, and we'll get into that in a second. But while Natalie, Scotty, and Jayla were on their way back to where everybody else was standing, that's when Gretchen starts calling Jayla up, telling Jayla that she needs to come here, because obviously the two of them ended up getting into it again, because Jayla kept telling Gretchen that she cannot say the N-word because she's not black, and Gretchen was trying to explain herself, and she did apologize to everybody if she made them feel uncomfortable for saying the N-word, but then it ends up slipping out of her mouth again. So Jayla ends up getting mad all over again, and she tries to fight Gretchen, but security does not let it happen. And look, I understand why Jayla's upset about Gretchen saying the N-word, because I don't think she should be saying it either. But at the same time, Gretchen is not going to stop saying the word. She's never going to stop saying it, because the thing about it is that she grew up saying it. She got a pass for saying it. The people that she hangs around where she's from allowed her to say it, so it's already in her vocabulary. You're not going to get her to stop saying it just because you hit her. And so although I understand why Jayla keeps trying to fight the girl, she's going to have to fight her every single time the girl talks, because the girl's going to keep saying it because it's already in her vocabulary. And at some point, the fighting between Jayla and Gretchen over this situation is going to get old. Now, once the fight between Jayla and Gretchen is put to an end, that's when Natalie starts directing her attention towards Tommie, and she starts yelling things out to Tommie. Tommie's walking towards where Natalie is at. Security is kind of in the way, keeping them from getting to each other, but Natalie ends up going around security, and she starts swinging on Tommie, and the two of them kind of start fighting a little bit. It started out as more of a tussle than a fight, because they couldn't really grip each other, and Natalie was kind of slipping on the sand a little bit. But once Natalie started to slip, that's when Tommie grabbed a hold of Natalie's wig, and she was dragging Natalie across the sand. So I would say that Tommie won that round, and then they latched onto each other again, and they started fighting for a second round. And this time they were both swinging on each other, but I will say that I feel like Tommie won the second round too, because she was the one that was getting the most hits in, and she was the one that was kind of overpowering Natalie during that fight. And then security ended up breaking up the fight between the two of them, and Natalie starts walking to the car, and she's still talking talking shit about Tommie, and Tommie's pissed off at this point, and she starts smacking the camera out of her face. I don't understand why Tommie does this every single time she comes on this show, though, and she gets mad because she got into a fight, and so she starts taking it out on security and the cameraman. Like, I think that she knows what she signed up for. She was already on the show before, so she already knows what to expect. So doing all that extra stuff to me is too much. Now, Tommie ends up walking to the parking lot where Natalie's at, and she starts looking through car windows to see which one that Natalie's in. So Natalie ends up stepping out of one of the cars, and she starts yelling things out to Tommie, and Tommie starts yelling things back out to her. So at this point, they're having a really heated back and forth with each other, and that's when Tommie goes over to the car where Natalie's at, and you can't see them fighting, but you can hear the two of them in the car fighting with each other, and then the cameras finally go over there to show exactly what's going on inside of the car. Now, when the camera finally shows what's happening inside of the car, you can see the security guard trying to pull Natalie back, and he's also holding one of Tommie's hands while Natalie is giving uppercuts to Tommie. And the thing about it is that Tommie definitely got hit by Natalie a few times because she was bleeding. However, I do think that it was messy that the security guard was holding her hand back, but I can't say who won that third fight between Tommie and Natalie, only because I didn't see what was happening the first like 10 seconds because they didn't show us what was going on in the car beforehand. So I can't say who won that round, but Natalie is running around claiming that she beat up Tommie. I'm not a fan of Natalie or Tommie, so I really don't care who won the fight. However, to be fair, I will say that Tommie won the first 2 rounds with Natalie, but I can't give a definitive answer to the last round because, like I said before, I didn't see what was happening until the camera finally cut to the scene. Now, after the fight between Natalie and Tommie is over and everybody's starting to leave, that's when Tasiki gets really pissed off because there's too much fighting going on and she's ready to leave. And as Tasiki is walking to the Sprinter, she sees Jelly Bean smiling outside of the window, and apparently she gets really pissed off about this because she doesn't like Jelly Bean because of something that happened when they were filming Bad vs. Wild. Tasiki explains what went on. She said that Jelly Bean was at Bad vs. Wild and she was standing in her husband's section, and she was standing a little bit close to her husband, and she didn't like it, and so she told the girl to move. Now, in my opinion, I don't think that's really that big of a deal to want to fight the girl about. Unless the girl was all over Tasiki's husband trying to kiss and touch and dance on him, then I can understand why Tasiki would be so upset that she would want to fight Jelly Bean. But if none of that was happening and she was just standing next to her husband, I don't think it's a reason to want to fight. However, to Tasiki, it's a reason to want to fight, and so she starts yelling things out to Jelly Bean, and Jelly Bean is acting like she's confused because she claims that her and Tasiki made up with each other and they already talked about the situation, and so she doesn't understand why all of a sudden Tasiki wants to fight. But Tasiki is saying that she never squashed the beef with Jelly Bean, that Natalie tried to get her to, but she didn't actually end up doing it. So security is holding the both of them back because at this point Tasiki wants to fight. And while Jelly Bean and Tasiki are yelling at each other, that's when Mariah Lynn comes out of nowhere and she sneaks Jelly Bean from the side and starts hitting her. I'm honestly confused as to why Mariah Lynn jumped in to defend Tasiki and she started fighting Jelly Bean for Tasiki, because Tasiki did not need Mariah Lynn's help, and I just don't understand why Mariah Lynn is quick to jump in to defend Tasiki, but she wasn't quick to jump in to defend Bianca in all the fights that she's been in. Because Bianca came on the show fighting for Mariah, that's the reason why Bianca has been fighting Sapphire on and off, and I haven't seen Mariah Lynn jump in for any of those fights. And then on top of that, when Bianca just got into a fight with Heaven in the previous episode, I didn't see Mariah jump in on that either, but she's so quick to jump in to defend Tasiki. I'm not saying that Tasiki needs to defend Mariah, but I have yet to see Tasiki jump in and defend Mariah one time. So I honestly feel like Mariah Lynn is being a follower. I feel like she's afraid of Tasiki and she wants to stay on her good side so she doesn't have to fight her at some point. And that's the reason why she jumped in to defend Tasiki, because that's really odd that she did that. Like, it was out of nowhere. And the next day, Meatball and Biggie were outside having a conversation about all the drama that went down, and Slim Too Bad and Natalie ended up coming outside to join them, and Natalie and everybody started going on and on about the fight that Natalie had with Tommie. And obviously, you know, Natalie was laughing about the situation, saying that she beat up Tommie, and Slim and Meatball were laughing as well. And I feel like Biggie did what she was supposed to do in that situation because she claims that her and Tommie have a real friendship. I don't believe that Tommie is really Biggie's Biggie's friend, but if Biggie is saying that Tommie's her friend, then she did what she was supposed to do by defending her friend, because she was really getting pissed off at the fact that Natalie and Slim and, Meatball were laughing about Tommie getting into the fight with Natalie and saying that she got beat up. So I do think that Biggie did the right thing by defending Tommie and also walking away when they were talking about Tommie, because you're not supposed to sit there and watch people laugh at your friend. You're supposed to get up and leave the situation, and that's exactly what Biggie ended up doing. And Natalie ended up inviting all the girls on a nature walk because she wants everybody to get to know each other a little bit and squash whatever beefs they have, because they have an appearance later on that night and she wants them to not get into a fight at the club appearance. And I can understand that, because if they start fighting in the club, it's going to ruin the whole thing and they probably aren't going to make any money. So I get where she's coming from with that, but splitting them up into groups with people that they don't get along with is not really a good idea. And that's exactly what Natalie ended up doing. And while they were in the car on the way to the nature walk, Natalie was in the car with Jayla, Scotty, and Diamond the Body. And Diamond the Body kept talking about Tinkerbella and how she still wants to fight her. And to me, Scotty was right what she said in her confessional, that she just wants to get to know Diamond outside of Tinkerbella, but all Diamond talks about is Tinkerbella. I feel like Diamond the Body is making the same mistake that Biggie made on the first season that she was on, where she made her whole identity on the show about Stunner Girl and how much she didn't like her and their beef that they had with each other. It made people not be able to get to know who Biggie was, and so people really did not like her that season. And I feel like Diamond the Body's doing the same thing with Tinkerbella. All she's doing is making people like Tinkerbella a little bit more and making people pay attention to Tinkerbella and getting annoyed with her because that's all she talked about. I feel like she's one of the people that they're going to want to replace, because all she's doing is talking about Tinkerbella, and you can tell that Scotty, Natalie, and Jayla were really annoyed about it. And when Natalie ends up splitting the girls up into groups of like 4 when they end up going on the nature walk, Natalie ends up bringing both Tinkerbella and Diamond the Body on a walk with her and Sapphire, and that did not go well, because obviously she knows Tinkerbella and Diamond the Body don't like each other, but Diamond the Body is the one that's keeping the drama going, and that was nothing different on this walk, because Diamond the Body kept going on and on about how she still wants to fight Tinkerbella because Tinkerbella ended up destroying her wig, but Tinkerbella keeps telling Diamond that she's the one who started the beef in the first place, when she's the one who started fighting her at the auditions for no reason at all. And that is true, and honestly, Diamond the Body's kind of getting on my nerves, because all she talks about is Tinkerbella, and she keeps going on and on about this goddamn wig, and it's just getting really annoying to me. She started the trouble, and now she's mad that Tinkerbella finished it, so she wants to keep fighting her. If Diamond wants to keep making her whole identity this season about Tinkerbella, then she's not gonna last very long. And just when you think that the drama is coming to an end, it actually picks back up again, because Jayla is on a walk with Meatball, Scotty, Slim, and It's Dia, and they're all talking and enjoying their walk. And all of a sudden, Meatball decides to confront Jayla about bullying Biggie. She claims that Biggie told her that Jayla has been bullying her, and so she decides that she's going to confront Jayla and defend Biggie. And look, I understand why Meatball is defending Biggie, because obviously the two of them have been getting really close, and she's listening to Biggie's side of the story. However, I think she should have stayed out of it, because it had nothing to do with her, and Biggie is actually the one, in my opinion, who started the beef with Jayla in the first place. Jayla was on a live stream with Natalie, and there was fans in the comment section asking her who she thought won the fight between Rolly and Biggie, and at first she said she didn't want to answer because she didn't want to be messy. Natalie told her to answer the question because she already knows the answer, and that's when she said that she feels like Biggie lost the fight and Rolly was the one that won. I don't understand why Biggie got upset about this girl's opinion, because at the end of the day, most people felt like Biggie is the one that lost that fight, and she got on social media and she threatened to slap Jayla, so Jayla obviously was going to confront her and fight her when she saw her, because you threatened to smack her on social media. So I really don't feel like Biggie's a victim, but I feel like Biggie does a really good job in playing the victim in a lot of situations, because at the end of the day, she's bullied other people too. She's hit other people out of nowhere when they didn't even see it coming, and she's jumped on bandwagons when one girl is hated by most of the people in the group. She doesn't like them either. So I just don't feel like she's a victim, and I don't feel like she needed to be defended by Meatball. I feel like Meatball should have stayed out of it, because when Meatball was getting into all these fights and all these episodes, I haven't seen Biggie anywhere around defending her. So I hope that Biggie will defend Meatball at some point the way that Meatball is defending her, because so far the only person that I've seen, her defend is Tommie. So those are my thoughts on this week's episode of Baddies Caribbean. Let me know what you guys thought about this episode down in the comment section. Don't forget to hit that like button for me. I appreciate it. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more videos and hit the notification bell so that you know every time I upload a new video. Thank you so much to everybody who has subscribed to my channel. I appreciate you all, and until next time, I will talk to you guys in my next video.